Now on the CTV News at 5, Southern Alberta air quality concerns. Plus, the Alberta Next panel prepares for its first town hall. And local athletes bring home the hardware from the Special Olympics Alberta Summer Games.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. We are less than 100 days until the municipal election in October, and the City of Lethbridge says it is still in the process of figuring out how everything will work. The province made significant changes to the Local Authorities Election Act, or Bill 20, which includes moving away from electronic tabulators and returning to hand-counting ballots. As Carson Marsouk reports, the city recently had an audit done to ensure the integrity, transparency, and efficiency of the proposed new processes.
There are 97 days until the October 20th municipal election in Lethbridge.
We have done a lot, we've prepared a lot, and we feel good about it. We've got our plans in place, and we're excited about this election.
But getting to that feeling hasn't been easy. Last year, the province made changes to Bill 20, including the removal of electronic tabulators, hand-counting ballots, 5 separate colored ballots, and a voters list. The province says the changes are to increase voter confidence, but it's left the City of Lethbridge scrambling. The city clerk says legislation was not clear and all municipalities in Alberta are doing something different when it comes to the election process. The city contracted a municipal election process audit report to find recommendations to help identify gaps and inefficiencies.
The legislation said for at-large election systems, which we are, that the ballots would stay at those facilities, and we were concerned that they would be, locked in a closet and not secure, so we'd wanted them here at City Hall in our secure vault, so we decided that we would move them.
The changes come with a $323,000 price tag, which the province has told the city it will not be covering. The city will employ 600 election staff, up from only 200 in 2021. Bonnie Hilford says the city has been able to cut down the time it takes to count ballots by hand. Originally estimated to take 4 days, she hopes they will have results done in 2.
We're doing 20 teams. There'd be 4 people in a team, and they'd run consecutively, counting all the ballots. We figure we have about 100,000 ballots to count.
The last time the city counted ballots by hand was in 1989. While the process is still being finalized, Hilford says the audit has brought comfort as Election Day approaches.
We feel good now that we can proceed with making decisions, ordering supplies. That we'll have a good quality election with sound results that won't be contested.
Carson Marsouk, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Now, the city has an up-to-date list for candidates running for mayor, councillor, and school board trustee. Nomination papers, voter registry, and to learn more about the candidates, you can visit the city's website. Tonight, Alberta's premier and a hand-picked panel will host the first in a series of town halls to address public concerns with the federal government. Danielle Smith and the 15 other members of the Alberta Next panel will hear about issues inspiring separatist sentiment in the province. The government is dedicating time to several strategies, including pulling out of the Canada Pension Plan. The premier has said the panel will recommend ideas and policy proposals for a referendum after the town halls wrap up in October. The panel will be in Medicine Hat September the 2nd and in Lethbridge on September the 11th. 2 people are facing charges after Lethbridge police seized more than 3,700 doses of a street drug, including a new variety of light green fentanyl molded into a gummy bear shape. Officers arrested a man and a woman wanted on outstanding warrants along Mayor McGrath Drive on the evening of July the 9th. Police found drugs on the man. A search warrant was executed at their home, leading to the discovery of 51 gummy bears, as well as mixing bowls, gummy bear molds, and detailed instructions for preparing the mixture. Police also seized drugs and cash with a street value of $84,000. 61-year-old Gregory Johnston and 51-year-old Deborah Bolender face a number of drug trafficking charges. Lethbridge police are investigating an assault with a weapon, and they're asking anyone who may have seen it to come forward. Police say on Saturday evening around 7:30, a verbal altercation between a man and a group began inside the Walmart on Lethbridge's south side. The altercation continued outside, where it's alleged a weapon was produced. Police are looking to speak with a person associated with an orange hot rod with no hood who may have been a witness to the assault. Anyone with information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. And city police are investigating a residential break-and-enter. Police say this group of men allegedly entered a locked apartment building along the 100 block of Scenic Drive North around 2 a.m. on July the 1st. Police say the men stole a bottle of wine. Anyone who may recognize the men in these photos are asked to contact Lethbridge Police or submit a tip anonymously through Crime Stoppers. Well, let's check in with Gina Martin for our first look at the forecast. And the rain is kind of petering off, but, oh, Gina, we've got a little bit more coming up down the road.
Yeah, exactly. The system is really slow moving and is dissipating, again, a lot slower than I think a lot of the models were predicting. So this is where we're at right now, the last 3 hours here. Still some trace amounts up in the lower atmosphere there that could produce some showers just on and off throughout the evening here. We're sitting at 15 currently. That's probably as good as we're going to get today for our high, but slight chance we might eke up to 16 degrees a little later this evening. But easterly winds, I'll talk about that more in detail when it comes to the smoke situation that's impacting parts of southern Alberta. We'll drop down to 5 tonight, back up to 22 tomorrow. Closer to seasonal, Jackie, but still a bit chillier than what's usual for this time of year.
All right. Thank you, Gina. And as Gina was saying, while the rain has mostly stopped, the smoke is lingering. Environment and Climate Change Canada issuing a special air quality statement for Lethbridge and surrounding area today. The wildfire smoke drifted in from fires burning in northern Alberta, Saskatchewan and Manitoba. The Air Quality Health Index reached an 11 or very high last night. For most of the day, it hovered around a 3. Health officials say it's important to limit time outdoors and watch for symptoms like wheezing, chest pains and severe cough. A water quality advisory has been issued for Enchant Municipal Park Pond. Due to elevated levels of fecal bacteria and water at the pond, Alberta Health Services is advising the public not to swim or wade at Enchant Municipal Park beach area, effective immediately. AHS says ingesting the water may result in gastrointestinal illness, as well as the possibility of skin, ear, and eye infections. Environmental public health officers will continue monitoring the situation. Now, you may notice some activity around Lethbridge's stormwater ponds over the coming days, but the city says don't be alarmed. Contractors will be surveying 22 ponds throughout Lethbridge in an effort to keep the city's waterways clean and healthy. Crews will be using a small boat to cruise across the pond surfaces to collect sediment samples, snap photos, and map out the shape of the pond bottoms. The city says stormwater ponds play a crucial role in managing runoff and collect materials like dirt, gravel, and oil from streets and sidewalks. The surveying will help the city understand how much sediment has collected over the years. The project will take about 2 weeks. Rent prices for one-bedroom apartments in Lethbridge are continuing to drop, but two-bedroom rents are continuing to rise. Quinn Keenan explains.
New rental asks for one-bedroom apartments in Lethbridge are $1,325 on average. That's down nearly 3% from the same time last year. It follows the national trend, which has seen rents drop 2.7% across Canada.
It's interesting because this is, the heaviest time of year for rentals, right? This is the peak summer season. Typically, it's when demand is the highest. And when that comes to play, usually rents surge in the summer, but that hasn't really been the case.
The average two-bedroom rental is up 4.7% and now sits at just over $1,600. The higher cost of living has many people looking for roommates, driving up demand. Many are also staying in one apartment longer and want more space.
People are not wanting one-bedroom apartments as much as they used to before. Before it used to be about 50 to 60% of all leads that we saw rentals, I'd say, were for one-bedroom apartments. And then over the last couple of years, that has really decreased, where we've seen a huge jump in 2 and 3 bedrooms.
A drop in rents for smaller units hasn't stopped people from needing to turn to rent supports. The Lethbridge Housing Authority now has over 1,500 people and families on its wait list for rent-supplemented units.
So I think we need more purpose-built rentals in the city of Lethbridge. We're very short of that. Once we get more of that, that will help ease the demand on the system, and eventually it will start to stabilize those rents.
Lethbridge and other small cities had seen rents go up as people looked for more affordable rents. But with big cities like Calgary and Edmonton in prime position to build more housing, rent across Alberta could become more affordable.
Look at Vancouver. You can only build so much because the ocean's there, the mountains. It's very limited in how you can expand it. Alberta, Calgary, Edmonton, these cities, luckily you can.
Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
A new Leger survey found Quebecers are the happiest people in Canada, and those in PEI are the least. Quebec residents rated their happiness at about 72 out of 100, well above the national average. New Brunswickers were second happiest, while Albertans are the sixth happiest. People from PEI scored lowest at 66.5 out of Canada's 10 largest cities. Mississauga, Ontario is the happiest, followed by Montreal, Hamilton, and Calgary. Leger surveyed nearly 40,000 Canadians between March 31st and April 13th. All right, it is time for our first break, which means Gina has your 5-day forecast when we return. Plus, a new report is looking at the dangers of do-it-yourself health diagnosis online.
Welcome back. Skycam facing south here in your Skywatch weather camera shot, just showing the tail end of that wet weather system that really has been influencing our conditions for about the last 24 hours here. We're starting to get some totals too from the rain that we've seen both on Sunday and Monday. So in Lethbridge, where you got up to about 37.1 millimeters in total over those 2 days. The highest amounts were just down the road west of Pincher Creek, Beaver Mines, getting up to 71.3 millimeters. So a good dose of rain, but the smoke right back on our doorstep here. We'll talk about that in a moment. Quick look at our temperatures right now, 16 in Lethbridge, so we made it. We warmed up to our new high of 16 degrees, but very below seasonal. Usually we're at 26 degrees for our high today, so we're 10 degrees below that. Tomorrow we start to work our way back up into the 20s with a high of 22 on tap. Same for Medicine Hat and Brooks. Air quality advisory in effect for Lethbridge right now and communities to the east of us, so that does include Medicine Hat. And there's quite a few things going on here. We got this smoke. I've looked at a few models, and it looks like most of our smoke today is coming from Saskatchewan here. This is a pretty generic mock-up here. This is not to scale, but showing where those fires are generally. They're coming down from the northeast winds today, and then you can see the scoops back up tomorrow because our winds change to a southerly direction. So could be a couple of days of this. The winds are not favorable when it comes to pushing the smoke out of southern Alberta for at least today and tomorrow. Here's our satellite radar right now. That system again that brought all the rain yesterday, moving stateside and to the east of us. But let's take a look at what's going to be happening over the next couple of days. Upper air setup here showing we are influenced by that subtropical jet, that orange line there. We get wedged between two jet streams as we get into Thursday, so that's going to produce potential for more active weather, bit of a break on Friday, and then more instability on Saturday there. So tomorrow we should see a clear start to the morning, building cloud throughout the day, but pretty stable for the most part. And then we see on Thursday, this rotation happened. Counterclockwise cyclonic flow, which could bring rain to Calgary in the central area and to the south in parts of Lethbridge, probably in the morning on Thursday, but instability still could be prevalent throughout the afternoons as well. So that's what's in store for us later this week. But for tonight in the East Kootenay, down to 8, chance of fog tonight and into tomorrow morning with a high of 23 degrees. Crow's Nest Pass could see some lingering showers tonight with a low of 3, so pretty chilly there. Up to 21 tomorrow, mainly sunny. Medicine Hat could see a chance of showers tonight as well. Down to 3 degrees. So again, some pretty cool conditions, but we do start to rally with a bit more sunshine in the forecast by Wednesday there with that high of 23. And for us, we will see that southerly flow tomorrow. So again, that could bring more smoke back into the region at 22. By Thursday there, 20 degrees with a chance of some instability throughout the day. And heading into the weekend, still below seasonal and still unstable, but closer to that average high of 26.
Southern Alberta continues to lead the province with confirmed measles cases. The province reporting another 9 cases today. 8 are in the south zone, where there is now a total of 782 cases since the outbreak began in March. In total, there are 1,323 in all of Alberta, which is the most per capita in North America and more than all of the cases in the U.S. Health officials continue to urge residents to get protected with 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. A new survey is shedding light on the extent to which Canadians are turning to AI for medical advice amid a shortage of family doctors, which has doctors and medical associations warning about DIY diagnosis and treatment. CTV's Janice Golding reports.
If you use social media, chances are you've seen something like this.
Anybody out there that thinks radiation and chemotherapy cures is an idiot.
A reel about one health concern or another, oftentimes claiming to debunk medical information we get from our doctors. The impact? Well, according to a 2025 survey by the Canadian Medical Association,
62% of Canadians have encountered health information that they later found to be false or misleading.
The Ontario Medical Association sounded the alarm about taking matters into your own hands, while at the same time acknowledging why it may be happening.
It could be lack of access to physician care. We know we're in a healthcare crisis. And there could also be fear or lack of trust in the medical profession.
The issue, says the OMA, is that the consequence of pursuing treatments found on the internet may not help, and at the worst, they can prolong symptoms while causing unnecessary harm.
I had a patient who had a tube going into their kidney because it was blocked, and they actually tried to put the twine from a weed whacker in to get out the sludge that was in there. And they were asking about actually putting in a little bit of Lysol to clear it out.
Cancer specialist Dr. David D'Souza cited case after case of patients who sought their own remedies to their own detriment, adding that physicians need to build a relationship of trust with their patients and, instead of being judgmental, make attempts to understand what they're communicating.
Just many years ago, there were some physicians who would basically say, I don't want to hear it if it's anything else. And I don't think that's been the right approach.
Quite frequently, doctors say patients are coming in having diagnosed themselves. So again, to restore trust, caregivers need to hear them out. And
if there is a discrepancy, let's say what they think they have is not what I think they have, then we have an open discussions about it.
The OMA concluded by saying disinformation is something we need to manage as a society, and healthcare is not immune. Janice Golding, CTV News.
Still ahead, local athletes bring home the hardware from the Special Olympics Alberta Summer Games. Stay with us. Welcome back. It was a very successful weekend for local Special Olympians. Athletes from Lethbridge brought home 57 medals from the 2025 Special Olympics Alberta Summer Games in Grand Prairie. And some of those Olympians were celebrated at today's City Council meeting. Athletes took part in a number of events, including swimming, basketball, and golf. In total, more than 2,500 athletes, coaches, and volunteers were involved in the Summer Games. The Lethbridge contingent included athletes from Coaldale, Claresholm, Vulcan, and Raymond. Athletes will now shift their focus to the Special Olympic Games in Medicine Hat next summer. Betting on the Chucks paid off big time for visitlethbridge.com. The local travel and accommodation website was Chance Vegan's tarp sponsor, the Calgary Stampede.
And the Rangeland Derby Championship, Cash for Cash, is southbound and out of town.
It all came down to this. Chance Vegan, who led the pack throughout the Stampede, Jason Glass and Jamie Labouchaine in the Chuck Wagon finals. Vegan had no problem crossing the finish line with his fastest time of the week. And this is his first Rangeland Derby Championship, taking home $50 grand and a brand new truck. He also claimed top spot in the aggregate standings. You can see Vegan at the Lethbridge at Whoop Up Days parade. Rain across the prairies postponed every WCBL game last night. With things looking drier, teams are hoping they'll be able to play tonight. Lethbridge Bulls are on the road taking on the Medicine Hat Mavericks. Both are second in their respective divisions and looking to make up some ground. Meanwhile, the Brooks Bombers, they're at home hosting the Regina Red Sox. First pitch for both games, that is 7:05 p.m. An 18-year-old baseball player from Coquitlam, BC, is heading to the big leagues after being drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. Tim Piastin went 143rd overall in the 5th round of the MLB draft. The 6'3" left-handed hitter previously played with Canada's junior team and the Okotoks Dogs Academy. The third baseman is committed to the University of Miami, but the Jays will look to sign him straight out of high school. Major League Baseball has a new home run derby champion.
They got one more. And he goes deep to center. Gone!
Seattle Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh claimed victory over Tampa Bay's Junior Caminero by 3 home runs. He becomes the first catcher and switch hitter to win the title. Raleigh is currently leading all of Major League Baseball in homers with 38. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, we'll share the story of Glenn's new home and the 4 simple words that changed his life. That's what Canadians do. Those simple 4 words proved to be life-changing for one BC man overwhelmed by adversity. Now, thanks to the kindness of a stranger, he has a new home and hope for the future. Adam Sawatsky explains.
Well, it's not unusual to find people camping like this over the summer. Glenn is not.
Yeah, I've kind of had a weird life.
After being diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer,
That was pretty scary.
and being rent-evicted from his home of 18 years,
At times I felt like quitting.
Glenn Edgeworth and his cats, Jack and Ollie, found themselves living in an RV along busy streets.
There's a big crack in the pavement, so all you hear all day, all night is tunk, 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 tunk.
After living like that for a year, Glenn received this notice prohibiting him from parking there, which meant he had nowhere else to go.
It was pretty devastating.
It made the news, and Glenn was featured in multiple media reports, which inspired a few people to offer parking spots at a price before one knocked on his door offering a place for free.
And I tried to give him $100, and he's like, no, I don't need that.
When Glenn asked why, the man who wishes to remain anonymous answered with 4 words.
That's what Canadians do.
And this, it turns out, is not a campsite. This is Glenn's new home.
I was literally in tears over it.
While he struggled to fall asleep that first night because it was too quiet,
Because I was listening to the humming of my fridge. I haven't heard that in so long.
Glenn celebrated waking up the next morning to the sounds of so many new neighbors.
Birds chirping.
And this deer he's named Bambi. What do you think he was saying to you?
Welcome to the hood.
Where Jack and Ollie can sit safely outside, and Glenn can find solace.
And I'm really grateful for my own situation, but I don't see the story stopping here.
Once he gets settled, Glenn is hoping to pay it forward by using his phone to record others experiencing homelessness and sharing their stories on his YouTube channel.
Realizing other people's humanity.
And connect people who need help with those who can help.
And doing what Canadians do.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News.
Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.